Welcome back, everybody. It's another episode of the Cadre Concept. Shane, hello, sir.
Hi, how are you today?
Good. How are you feeling?
You know, I'm feeling good. My wife and I are training for the Seattle to Portland bike race.
Yeah?
Which is funny because we just bought bikes. Like, we've had bikes for like 6 months, and we're going to go ride 204 miles in 2 days. So we realized that we're way behind. We work out, we do CrossFit, and CrossFit's really focused on your core and your legs. Yeah. So we have some muscle strength per se, but endurance sports, I've never done one before, ever.
Wow.
I have a lot of friends, and I've always kind of thought that was, you know, what cool people did is they ran marathons and did tries, and I just never thought I had it in me. And my wife has always wanted to do this Seattle to Portland STP bike race. And so we got her a bike, and she's been serious about it. And I realized I needed to listen to my wife because she's the healthy one in my family. She eats well and she's disciplined. We were just looking at pictures. She looks the same and weighs exactly the same as she did when we got married 16 years ago after 3 kids. Amazing. I've never had a kid, and I'm 15 pounds heavier. So anyways, we've been doing this STP training, and on Saturday or Sunday, we got up and we rode 30 miles, which was pretty intense with the Seattle topography.
Yeah.
And I got done, and my legs were pretty rubbery for a day.
Can you feel it?
And I have to do this every day now. I have to do at least 50 a week in one sitting. So yeah, I don't have to. I get to challenge my mind to see how much endurance I have.
That takes a lot of courage.
It does.
It takes a lot of courage to
I love it.
Step into new things like that.
That's actually what I wanted to talk about. So it's funny that you bring it up.
What?
So I wanted to talk about setting your eyes on the course of getting from here to there. When everybody wants to get from here to there, wherever they're at, they want to get to somewhere else that they're chasing. And it could be the simplest thing, or it could be the biggest thing. And I've been doing this Seattle to Portland training in my mind, and it's in July 15th, which means I'm not ahead of my training. I'm behind it. And so now I have to decide if I'm going to do this, and, you know, what are the framework of me doing it? So I thought, what if we put the STP as like a goal, and we started thinking about how do we help our listeners go from where they're at in something specific to somewhere where they want to be, using the 2 frameworks of humility and courage.
Yep.
And some things that they could put inside underneath those 2 buckets that would help them chart their course and reach their destination.
I love it. Yeah.
And just the humility of like just thinking about something hard and how you get from here to here.
Yeah, I'm curious how you break those 2 down. Like I don't often think of humility as one of the tools I use to get from here to there. That'd be interesting to look at, as well as just courage, I think, is more obvious to me, but walk me through. Like,
okay. So, help humor me as I kind of wrestle with this, because this is, you know, what this podcast is this is a guy who doesn't really know anything about anything, trying to figure stuff out. And as I wrestle through things in my life, I get to come on here and say, hey, here's what I'm learning. What do you guys think? And my vision would be that at some point this would become a community of people that are all trying to get from here to there. And we recognize that there's these 7 F's, these core competencies, where we get to do the work in our hearts and our souls and in us first. And then through that leadership of leading ourselves, we learn to lead others. And then when we lead others, we could change the world, because, you know, together we can do, you know, we were meant to go 2 by 2. Together is how we were designed. That everybody has a longing for mastery in community. Why do you think a team wants to play on the, you know, there's the entry level soccer team and there's the high level soccer team. Why do they want to be on the high level? It's not just because they want to be the best. It's because they want to be around other people who are trying to be their best.
Yeah.
Right. There's a goal to be successful at something.
Yep. So walk me through.
You do this in your life, right, Chris? Like, this is something.
Which part?
You're trying to get from here to there, right?
Yeah, I have a lot of theirs I want to get to from here. Yeah, absolutely.
And I think you could probably say, like, if I were to say, Chris, how about in your marriage? Do you have a here to there? You have, yep. How about in your faith? Do you have a here to there? Yeah, I know where I want to feel and how I want to be. And I think in each of these 7 F's that we talk about all the time, which is family, faith, fitness, finance, friends, field, and fun. Each one of them, we have I know I'm getting better. Each one of them, we have a starting point from a here, and we have a there that we want to be. We all know what weight we want to look like and the way we want our body to feel. I just had my friend tell me when he turns 40, he wants to break a 4-minute mile. So he wants to be under 5, and his best is 5:02. So he wants to be at 4:59 or better.
Wow.
And that's tangible. He can train for that. And then he had something else, something under 40. I think it was 40 pull-ups or 400-pound deadlift. That's what it was.
Wow.
And I just think there's something and so he's working this process to be from here to there. He has a year to do it. So he's training. So I was thinking, if we had a narrative of going from here to there, and for me, it's the STP. That's what I'm going to talk about today.
Yep.
What if there was a narrative? What if there was a process to get from here to there? And would it apply to everything? And could people relate to it?
Yeah.
So humility.
I
I think humility in its purest form is recognizing that it's not about you. You're not the main character of the story. And when you accept that, you stop being a victim. You stop being, and again, every one of us are very much selfish beings. And so the humility is the first. It's to recognize it's not about you, even though your narrative wants to believe it is, it's not. And then once you come to that conclusion, you could start looking at things from a different angle. That's maybe like, not so much that I know everything, but so what do I don't know? How can I get better? It's a student mindset.
Yeah.
Then a mastery, I already got it figured out. If you're looking down on a problem, it's hard to learn. If you're in the center of a problem and it's all about you, it's really hard to learn. But if you're looking down on it subjectively, it's really easy.
Right. Yeah. Yep. I like that. I think it gives me a pattern interrupt on how I relate to goals. Like when you think about, okay, well, getting from here to there is about me. I have a thing I want over there. Like they don't want that. I want that. And so there's a lot of like frame for it is about me. I'm hearing where I think you're going. So I'm interested for you to keep unpacking it, because I feel like for you to go from here to there and to say it's not about me probably opens something up in the training of it. But tell me more.
So like if we use this STP as kind of the framework of how I'm going to get from here to there. So right now I'm moderately in shape, probably not out of shape, but probably not in peak shape. I'm probably about, I think they say I'm supposed to be 199 for my height. That's my max body weight. And I'm like 214, 215. So I'm probably a solid 10, 15 pounds too heavy.
Yeah.
For being at my maximum where, my body fat index is supposed to be, or whatever they call it, BMI.
Yeah.
I'm strong naturally in my legs. So this is something I probably can do. I don't have a weakness in my legs. I have some endurance and some strength. I've always had that. So now I got to get on this bike and I got to surrender to the process of this is a different way of doing things that I'm not done. I'm used to using my legs to walk, not to make a bike go.
Right.
So there's all these components and there's all these people who are into it. So, it's it starts all the way from like the vehicle you're using, which is my bike. Do I have the right one? Is it set up to where, my legs are at the right pushing distance? And I posted a thing on Facebook in this bike group because I'm like, hey, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Help me. Yeah. And I had all these people respond, and a lot of them were talking about, not about the heart, but about the gear, like the tools, the things I needed in my tool bag before I went on my journey, and think like advice on when to stop and when not to stop and how far to ride in the first day and where to stay. And it was all the logistics, but it wasn't so much the answer. No one was like, pedal your bike 72,000 times and you'll get there. Mm-hmm. It was more like all these little framework, and almost everybody, they talked about butt butter. I guess when you ride your bike for a long time, you got to lube up your bum so you don't get rashes and chafe. And I was like, I'm so glad I asked for help on that, because if I was, at mile 50 or 60 or 100 and I'm like, something's not right.
Yeah. And that takes humility to put butt butter on. It takes some humility.
Butt butter, bum butter. We had this joke we were talking about, like we should start a stand. free butt butter application. We can just be butt
Yeah.
engineers. Like,
Oh
don't worry, we're
man.
trained, ma'am.
Like a pit crew. You're like
Yeah.
pull over,
Pull over, lube it up.
lather up and get.
So I started
Mm,
thinking about like, what are the fundamentals to going from here to there, and what's the humility to that's needed to get it. So I think the first thing is to recognize, what if you just unpacked all your knowledge?
mm.
I mean, have you ridden a bike before, Chris?
Yeah.
You have, like everyone has, but have you ridden a bike 200 miles?
No.
No, not everybody has. So maybe it's not the same.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's not the same. So I think the first step in getting from here to there is accepting the fact that you have tools and knowledge, but you have to confirm that they're the right tools and knowledge. So it's like, you got to have a sense of direction, and then
Yeah.
you got to break it down into some small actual point. And the first thing is your mindset. I've decided that I don't want to get stuck at mile 80 on my headspace and then not be able to get the other 120 miles.
Yeah.
So I'm starting to do the research of like, what do I need and what kind of food should I eat? Do I carb load? Like, there's all these things you got to learn because it's an endurance sport. Well, isn't life an endurance sport?
Yeah. Yeah. If you treat it that way, I suppose.
Isn't going from here to there an endurance sport? Like, I mean, it's competitive. Like in any sport, oftentimes you have what you're trying to do and what someone else is trying to stop you from doing, right? You try to score the football, they try to stop you. Their defense takes on your offense.
Right.
So any sport has this competitive thing. And in life, it's the same way. I don't think we're necessarily trying to stop each other, but let's be honest, we're not the easiest on each other either. We're just not.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to run into a lot of things where you set out with a plan and then you run into something and you got to overcome that plan and you got to deviate. And very rarely when you get there, and from where you started, from where you go, could you have charted an exact course?
Right. Yeah.
Right. So there's some humility and understanding that this is bigger than you and you're going to learn and grow. They always say, don't wish you had less problems, wish you had more character to deal with your problems.
Got it. Yeah.
You ever heard that? So I want to talk about the humility that it takes to get your mind right, to set on a journey to where you're going to, and this journey could be choosing to, change your mindset from one mindset to the other right now. It could be the activity of doing a miracle morning. It could be chasing a new job. It could be, being a better father. It could be anything within the 7 F's.
Right.
But I think they all start at the same. I think you need to seek wise counsel. So I was thinking about it like, how would I get from here to there? I think the first thing you need to do is have an earnest desire to get from here to there. And I know that sounds simple, but how many people do you know that don't have a desire to get from here to there? A lot of us are serving time and not investing it. I know that I do that a lot. Do you ever do that?
Yeah, I would say there are places I want to go, like it's a desire. But if I think about the cost, I'm like, I don't know if I want to go there that bad. Like I'm not sure if I'm willing to invest. So I'll serve time daydreaming about it rather than investing to actually get there. Is that what you're saying?
No, I think it's good. Yeah, I think a lot of us are on the couch dreaming about what it looks like to be off the couch, but we're not willing to get up.
Yeah. That'd be cool someday to do an SDP. That'd be really cool to ride 200 miles. It'd be cool to break a 5-minute mile. I don't know if I want to train that hard.
Yeah, they don't want to put in the work that it takes to get there. I mean, he's going to train for a whole year to lose 2 seconds, 3 seconds.
Right.
Because he's been training for a long time. He's one of the most healthy guys I know.
Right.
But this is something he's never done, and he's almost 40. And he's like, well, it's something I still want to do. So he's going to train harder.
It's crazy.
Huh.
That's so I feel like part of what I'm getting out of this, at least, is that humility actually taps into a different desire, a different tank, a different gumption, a different metal that gets you in the game and to go further. Like sometimes if it's just about so to your point, like this is not about you. Like if it's about you, then sometimes it's easy for us to cave on our commitments to ourselves. We're like, yeah, I don't know. I don't need it that much. But if you think about it as from a place of humility, this is bigger than you. There's more to the picture than just you shaving 2 seconds off your time or riding 200 miles.
Well said, Chris.
Yeah.
Well said. Yeah. So the humility to start, the humility to be a student, the humility to do the hard work, the humility to get up every day and recognize that you're not there yet and you're still working on it. Man, I know this seems so elementary, but I talk to a lot of people. I kind of have a gravitational pull to me and attracted to others, people who want to go somewhere. And I'm always hearing about, people send me a message, be like, hey, I'm starting a shaved ice machine and company. And I'm like, cool. Tell me more about it. I have a dear friend named Mike doing that. And, I'm not into shaved ice, and I never thought of that idea. And it doesn't sound like something I would do, but he's really excited about it. So good for him. Like, I'm excited to see him do it, and I'll buy shaved ice from him, and I'll invite him to anything I can to support his mission, because it's something he loves. But he wants to do that because he's super committed, and he's humble with his passion. He just quit a big job to be a stay-at-home dad. That's his number one goal, is that he wants to be the world's best dad. And he like every single day I see him at the zoo and at the park, and like he's just having a great time being a dad. That's awesome, right? So he wants to figure out how to do shaved ice to give him permission to be a dad more. It's just something he can do on the weekends and his off time, that he still can be a dad. So he has the humility to start something new because it means something to his whole plan. And for him, shaved ice is his new thing, but it's all for being the best dad ever. So his why is really clear to him.
I
so
love
I think
that,
it's
man.
the humility to ask yourself, why am I doing it?
Yeah.
What's the goal?
And linking that up to something that is bigger than yourself.
Yeah.
Like your kid or.
And I'm not trying to act like you got to grab to this heroic mindset that you're trying to manipulate your mind and say it's not about you, but dad, and you're going to be like the hero of the story, and you're going to combine, you're going to be the best dad ever. I'm just saying, like, what do you want to be? What's the sum of your day? When you wake up in the morning, are you doing the work to create the outcome that you're hoping to have when you're 60 or 80? If your kids suck when you get older, and it's because you weren't involved,
right?
That's because you didn't have daily disciplines, the humility to start again and to keep shaping yourself and becoming a student. So I think the first thing I've learned about the STP training is the humility to know that just because I know how to ride a bike doesn't mean I know how to ride a road bike.
Right.
And I need to start asking and raising my hand and saying, who else has this passion, and who's gone before me? Who's already rode the STP? Well, turns out there's people who've ridden it like 20 times. There's people who've ridden the whole race, 204 miles in one day.
Wow.
I mean, there's all kinds of people that I could call and ask advice. And the truth is, guess how I posted this thing on the Spike Club. I had like 90 something responses.
Wow.
90. So what I found is when you're trying to do something that's unique, and it takes a little bit of student, a little bit of help, there's lots of people who want to help you, especially those who have gone through what you're going through. Whether or not it's riding a bike, or it's starting a business, or it's, losing weight, like, come on, there's a club for everything.
Yeah.
You have to have the humility to raise your hand in that club and say, hey, can I get some help? I want to be like you guys. And some people are where you are, and some people are where you want to be. And the ones who are where you want to be can be like, hey, I hit a bump at road 6 when I was rounding the corner, along Lake Washington. I would look out for that, because I hit that and it blew my tire. Well, man, now I'm going to go further, and I didn't have to learn that lesson the hard way. So it's the humility to like really ask yourself the subjective questions and be a student.
That's good. Yeah, that's good.
I hope that helps people listening. I know I could give like step 1 through 3 of humility, but I'm more talking about just the mindset of being a student. And starting from where you're at, and setting your course, but not feeling like, I don't know what this is going to look like, Chris. I'm never going to ride 200 miles before I ride this race. So I'm going to train. This is what I've been told. I'm going to train. I need to be able to do between 50 and 100 miles in one sitting before I go to the STP. So my goal is by middle of this month, June coming up, that I will go do a 50 to a 60 mile ride in one day. So now I'm trying to figure out what to do and how to do it. And then someone else told me that I need to probably ride in some kind of a formal race of some kind, not a race, but where there's a lot of bikes, because that's a whole nother thing I never thought of, is there's going to be 10,000 bikes on this race, or this STP. I don't know how to get in lanes and like not be in the way and not cause problems. I don't know anything. So I'm going to do some things between now and then. I'm going to chart a course and start putting things on his calendar, that, landmarks that I'm going to try to reach. Right. And I'm going to start adjusting my weight and start eating better. I'm going to start these things. Right. So today is my first day of my food training, because I realized I probably need to weigh a little bit of less weight. Because I'm going to be really pushing my body, and I want my body to be a little bit leaner. 10 pounds on your body is a lot on a bike, I think. So I started asking all these people for advice, and I'm realizing there is building blocks that I can use to start training for this thing. So I think if anybody is from here and they want to get to there, I think there's some clear things you could see by asking good questions,
Right.
and building some metrics of, the humility to keep asking and be a student, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you ever had a young person come to you, Chris, and say, "Hey, can you give me advice on this?"
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you okay to give advice for
Oh,
people?
I love that. I love it. Yeah.
Why do you think you love it?
I feel like I'm contributing. I'm making a difference. I'm helping.
I think we all feel that way.
Yeah.
Even if it's the smallest thing, like, I need to get my hair cut. And you're like, oh, I got this guy who made a difference.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just been thinking about the journey of this STP, and I'm starting to recognize that when I start asking questions of other people about how to prepare, they actually give me the tools I need and start to help me chart the course. So now I'm starting to chart the course. But at some point, there's no amount of training or advice I can get. I can only get me so far down my road. And then I got to be able to hunker down. And here's where the courage comes in. So I think that's two-part for this race. And I'm sure there's a lot of ways to look at it. But humility to be a student and to learn everything I can to give myself the best chance of finishing this thing. Right. And then charting on a course. But then it becomes the courage. The courage, I have to actually, act on the learning, the teachings that I got. I have to put them in place. So like today I have to eat right. Like I literally went to leave my house. I went to grab something, and I had to have that moment where I'm like, Shane, if you don't start today, you're not going to be able to do this. So like I had to go, so today I get to battle this for the next 4 or 5 days, getting my mind to be very focused on what I can't do because I'm in training. I'm in training. And I wonder, where in your life are you in training?
Right.
Are you in training to be the best father you can be? Are you in training? Like, what are some things you have to be disciplined on so that you get the right outcome? And what are some things that you need to do or stop doing to be the father you want to be? Right? Like each of these areas, it's the same process. And my bike ride is a great analogy of how we get someplace in our life. So I got to work on my diet. Well, now it's my mental game. And then I got to work on my training. So now I get to take this mindset of riding my bike. So now everywhere I go, I'm looking at the sides of the street to see how wide the side is. So if I can ride, it's interesting. I've never noticed the shoulders of the roads before.
Yeah.
Until I started doing it. So now it comes to the courage. The courage is getting up every day and keep making the steps necessary, the compounding effect to be ready. Right. And then there's going to have to be some tests, I think. Like, I'm going to have to get on that. Like the other day when me and my wife are going to get on the bike, or we're going to ride 30 miles. I got to be honest with you. I talked to big game until it was time to get on the bike. And then I felt like, oh crap, 30 miles on a bike is 3 hours. That's a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's a lot of hills in my area. I live on the top of a hill. So no matter what, when I come home, I have to climb either one big hill or the other big hill. I have no choice.
Right.
And that's after the 30 miles, So, man, I had to have the courage to get on the bike and go. And then, there was some times in that race that I wanted to, or just that 30 miles, I'd say that last hill I was talking about.
Yeah.
I literally didn't want to climb it. Like my legs were pissed.
Yeah.
I felt a little exasperated and I didn't want to do it. But I had to have the courage to go, well, you started this damn thing. If you can't do 30, you're never going to do 200.
Right. Yeah.
So I did it. And then when I got done, I laid in my yard and I had this sense of accomplishment. And now I'm looking at 50. But here's the coolest part. Because I've done 30, I now know that I only have to do 20 more because I've already kind of given myself credit for 30. I can do that now. I know that I've proven myself to be able to do it.
Yeah.
So it's really kind of cool about this idea that I got this 200 miles. It's a great analogy. Like every mile that I train gives me more equipped to do more miles down the road. But at some point, I'm going to get to on this race, whether or not it's my, 1 mile to the next mile, or it's my first day where I get my 100 miles and I got to get on the bike the next day after being sore as hell.
Yeah.
And ride and reapply some more butt butter.
Yeah.
I'm bamboozled. I don't even know how to put that stuff in. You know what I mean? I have no clue. No clue.
I know. That's amazing. Yeah. Dude, that's good, man. I feel like courage is the thing where it doesn't matter if you've gone from here to there and now you have a new there, because if we're always expanding or we're always in the game of growth, then it always requires, I think, like what you're saying is, it always requires some level of humility and then courage to take it on, because if you keep playing the game, the only time I guess it doesn't is if you stop playing the game.
Well, I can have the humility to go buy the right cleats. I can buy the right bike. I can get, all the right reflective gear and the flashy lights on the back. And I could learn all the little doohickeys for turning. I could get it all. But if I don't have the courage to get on the bike and then climb to the top of the hill, all that crap, all that student stuff didn't work.
Dude,
it's a two-part equation I'm finding.
That's convicting. It's convicting because I think I've spent a lot of time buying the tools, right? I mean, you can look at my closet, like how many cameras do I have and how many microphones do I have and how many lights? I mean, it's ridiculous. And it was all a distraction, right? It was all a distraction to try to not get in the game, right? Because I was scared. I mean, that's the thing about courage is you're going to do the work even in the face of the fear. But
I think another part of the courage is recognizing that you have what it takes to be successful. At some point you got to get off the couch and you got to go, right? So I'm going to be riding this bike and I'm going to get to a point where I can only have trained for so much. So say hypothetically, the longest ride I get is say 50 miles. And I do that 2 or 3 times before we have this big race.
Yeah.
Once I cross the 50-mile mark, I'm in uncharted territory. I don't know if my training got me there.
Right.
I hope it does, right?
So. Yeah.
But I don't know. A lot of athletes that run in the Olympics, they have their best time at the Olympics. They're training. They don't ever quite get it, but there's something that happens to the soul when you get in that competitive environment and and here's what I believe the courage part comes in. You recognize that you've served the time to be here and now you're going to give the best you have.
Yep.
It's one thing if you got up to that line and looked down the line left and right and you said to yourself, these bikes are going to take off. I bet you $100, Chris, that some of these bikes are going to kick my ass.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be going up the hill and look and see a guy just like he's on a rocket. I'm going to think to myself, I don't have this, or man, look how good he is. But if I start comparing me against him, what happens?
Yeah. Right.
I just don't think it helps me have courage. I think it helps me have fear. It makes me introspective. I always say comparison is the thief of joy. And I think the best way to take a comparison and put it into this piece is understanding the courage to not buy into that crap, to train hard and just buy into your own best effort. That's it. Because if you start comparing, it ruins everything for you. It's a thief of joy.
Yeah.
So if I were leaving all you listeners and you, Chris, and speaking out loud to what I need to hear is that I am a good student. I have the humility to learn. I have the humility to get on my bike and try butt butter for the first time. I have the humility to, spend the money where people are telling me to and buy the equipment they're telling me to, because I want to learn. But I also want to be known at the end of this race. I want to be able to look at people and say, I did the SDP, and they say, what did you learn? I said, I can say, I learned about that. It proves the point that if I have the humility to learn and the courage to see it through, that it works every time. And the only thing that stops it is me and my ability to stay true to my best effort.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking courage and humility. Do you have the courage to start and to be a good student? And by the way, when you're a student, you never stop learning. So I think along in this race, I'm going to ask people, hey, what do I do next?
Right.
Like I can only get so prepared until I'm in this race.
Yeah.
And there's going to be people who are going to look the part, and I'm going to say, hey, you have wisdom. Can you share some of that for free with me? They're going to be absolutely, just like you and I would, because they have bikes in their closet too.
Yeah.
Because they've been testing the process, right?
Yeah.
And I'm going to be able to learn. And then I'm going to be able to take my courage and put a best effort. But then there's going to be something that's going to happen. And I think this is where the Cadre Concept, in my opinion, is why I feel like it's my life's work and what I want to spend the rest of my life doing is I get to ride with all these other people and I get to use their hard work as an example for my own. So that guy that passes me, I'm damn well going to try to keep up with him. Right? It's just how I am. Like, why would I not try? I mean, and I'm sure he'll be there on the other side to tell me good job. Right?
Yeah.
So having the courage to start and to be a student of the game, or having the humility to start and be a student, and have the courage to stay the course and to trust in yourself. I think that's going to help me get to the STP, and I'll report back like July 18th and let you know how I did.
Right. Yeah. I can't wait to hear that one. That's so
What do you
good, man.
think?
And it's perfect because I feel like I love the metaphor too, because it applies to the 7 Fs. If you think about every area in your life of where you are and where you want to go, then I think this metaphor is perfect. Humility and courage for every of the 7 Fs.
So I think the question is, if you're listening, take one of these 7 Fs, your faith, your family, your finance, your fitness, your fun, your field, and ask yourself, where am I now and where do I want to go? And if you're not where you want to go, start becoming a student. Open your mind up to, people around you that have been there where you are. If you're a young married, find older marrieds. If you're a young parent, find older parents. If you're overweight, find someone who's in shape, and just start you are the sum of the 5 people in each of these areas, right? You start to become the people who speak into your mind, good or bad. So I implore you to have the humility to accept where you're at, and that you need to raise your hand and ask for help from others and learn. And then the courage to get up every day and work towards that, your race.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
I would love you guys to respond in comments. Chris, I want to engage people more. I want them to ask questions. And if anybody's done the STP, help me. I don't know what I'm doing. Tell me if my courage and humility is going to work, because right now it's a hypothetical thing. We're going to see if it works. But I wonder if it applies to an endurance sport, endurance in life.
And if you have a particular brand of butt butter that you prefer, like, drop that in the comments.
Bamboozling.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
Listen, one of the tools that you have at the Cadre Concept is the self-assessment through the 7 Fs that really help you figure out where are you today, right? Like when we say here's where you are. And then it actually, I think when you do those types of evaluations, when I've done them, it actually helps me get honest or authentic about like, oh, this is where I really am. And I think sometimes I fudge it in my head like I'm better than I am, but I get honest about it. And then I go, oh, this is where I want to be. And I think that's a great tool for you guys to start. That's at cadreconcept.com. Is that right, Shane?
Yeah, buddy. And then, we have a Facebook group too. Find us at Cadre Concept. My goal is we're all doing life together. We're sharing our stories of successes and failures, and we're raising our hand and saying, hey, I'm on the new journey of, doing this STP. Anybody ever done it? And then we can all respond. And soon, July 18th, I'll be able to say, I've done it once.
Yeah.
I have something I can share.
Yeah.
And I think everybody, if everybody's out, part of our cadre coming to get something and coming to give something, we'll have a great group.
Yeah.
So
good.
Join our group on Facebook.
Good stuff today, Shane. Thanks, man. Thanks for bringing the humility and the butt butter. I'll probably keep dropping that into conversation. I'll probably overuse it.
It's a thing, though. I think there's actually a brand called Butt Butter. So.
Oh, man. All right. Well,
thanks, Chris.
All right. Good stuff, Shane. See you next time.